Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So is Ole Gunnar Solsjaer out of his depth at Manchester United? Now, there's no philosophy, there's no system, all his team selections are poor, and we've got a bad ownership. And I think Ole Gunnar Solsjaer is going to get sacked as Manchester United manager. Probably not at this present time though. Mauricio Pochettino has been the favourite to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club. By the way, Pochettino, I think it's on, is it Sky for tonight's game between Leeds United and Leicester City. And I think he will probably mention Man United. Now, a few weeks ago, it says that we was in for Mauricio Pochettino. Mauricio Pochettino was linked with a managerial role at Man United before Solskjaer got the job permanently in March last year. And I do like Pochettino a lot, like I've said to you before, he's well proven in the Premier League. He's dealt with top players. My only element of concern about him is not won anything in terms of silverware. Pochettino did endure 5.5 years with Tottenham, and analysing the vast majority of his tenure, Tottenham were competing in and out of the top four. Last year, though, Pochettino guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final. Before he was at Tottenham, he was at Southampton. He enjoyed a very short tenure with Southampton, but he did guide them to their highest ever finish in the Premier League. And before he was at Southampton, he was at Espanyol. So he's managed 3 clubs so far in his managerial career. Pochettino has been managerless now for like a year, or is it over a year? It also mentioned that we've been looking at Massimiliano Allegri as an alternative. But yeah, the pressure is now back on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because we did recently lose to Arsenal 1-0 at Old Trafford. And that's the first time Arsenal have beaten us at Old Trafford in the Premier League for 14 years. And it's our third home defeat this season in the Premier League. We have not yet won at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season, and we've played 4 home games. It's our worst start at Old Trafford in 50 years. I think Solskjaer is in the exact same position as what he was in at the first part of last season, because at the first part of last season, we enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season, didn't we? And by the way, this is our worst start to a season since the David Moyes era. But to be honest with you, I think Manchester United made a mistake by giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job. But the main explanation we're giving the job was reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. We've made a lot of mistakes in the last 7 years, and that's one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent. Solskjaer has been Manchester United manager now for almost 2 years, so he's been with us around 22 months, and he's been permanent Man United manager for around 19 months. And Solskjaer has got a contract with the football club till 2022. Very, very sceptical that he will see out his contract. This is his second season at the football club. And I did say, didn't I, at the start of this season, he's got to exceed his expectations as Ole. And I said, if Man United can get a top 4 finish this season, and if we can win a trophy, I think that would represent a good season for Man United. But the way things are going at the moment, that's obviously not going to happen. We are sitting now 15th in the Premier League, and we are sitting near the relegation zone, aren't we? Obviously, not all of the blame stems from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does it though? Some of the blame stems from certain players, because there has been players that have obviously been underperforming. And I still think there's players at Manchester United that are not good enough to represent the football club. Obviously, a lot of our fans have been demanding the board out for several years. Reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been, and we've also overpaid for players in recent years. Now, none of our managers have been backed enough since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Moyes wasn't backed enough, Van Gaal wasn't backed enough, and Jose Mourinho wasn't backed enough, and Solskjaer's not been backed enough because in the summer transfer window this year, we missed out on all of Solskjaer's priority targets, and we missed out on a lot of targets in general. And Ollie said a few times during the summer transfer window that he was very infuriated with the board. Now, obviously, Woodward's been at the football club since 2012, so he's been with us a good 8 years or so. And the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005, so they've been at the club now for over 15 years. Haven't they? But there is some positives to take from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure. It's not all negativity regarding Solskjaer. Like I said, last season he did well because last season Solskjaer got us qualification for the Champions League. He also got us third, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals, didn't he? We've also had some good periods under him. Prior to the Arsenal game, we was unbeaten in our last 4 games in all competitions. We've enjoyed a fantastic start to our Champions League campaign. We've had back-to-back wins. We beat RB Leipzig and we beat PSG, so that's 6 points from 2 games. And was it at the second part of last season, we went on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions, went on a 14-game unbeaten run in the Premier League, and did well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. I also like the way that Ollie has promoted the youth, because he has given the young players their opportunities. He's made some good signings since he got appointed in as Manchester United manager. Maybe they haven't all been good signings. Obviously, Ollie's spent over £200 million and he's enjoyed 4 transfer windows. In the summer of 2019, he brought Daniel James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January, he bought Bruno Fernandes and he brought Odi Nagala in on loan. And in the summer transfer window this year, he brought Donny van der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Facundo Pellistri and Amad Traore. Amad Traore will be joining the football club in January. And he's also brought a few academy players into the club. I also credit Solskjaer because he has showed a lot of tactical flexibility in a lot of the big games since he got appointed in as Man United manager. And this was one of the reasons why I thought we'd have beaten Arsenal recently. Solskjaer's obviously beaten Julian Nagelsmann. He's beaten Thomas Tuchel. Last season, he beat Pep Guardiola 3 times. He also beat Frank Lampard 3 times. And he's obviously beaten Jose Mourinho once. He's obviously had a few draws with Jurgen Klopp as well, who's obviously the Liverpool manager. So that's another positive you can take. We've also seen a lot of players depart the football club since he got recommended in. We've seen players like Lukaku and Herrera leave. They were 2 players that Man United should have kept. We obviously saw Fellaini leave in January 2019. I think he was the first player to leave under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, wasn't he? We've seen likes of Darmian leave the club. Valencia left the club after he enjoyed 10 years at Man United. Young left the club back in January. We saw Smalling leave the club on deadline day this year, didn't we? He went to Roma. Delors, he went out on loan to AC Milan. Now, obviously, AC Milan want to try and get him permanently. We saw Andres Pereira go out on a 1-season loan with Lazio. Tahith Chong, he went out on loan to Werder Bremen. I think we also loaned Dylan Levitt out. I think we loaned Joe Pereira out for another season. And Alexis Sanchez, he joined in at Milan permanently. We made the right decision by getting rid of Sanchez because his wages at the football club were having a bad effect, weren't there? So when we got rid of him, it freed up our wage bill a lot, didn't it? So yeah, seen a lot of players depart the football club. But like I've said to you, I want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure to work out because I love him a lot and he was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance, didn't he? But just don't think he's good enough to succeed as a manager. You know, he hasn't got that proven pedigree. You know, Manchester United is the third club in his managerial career. And obviously, before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff. He enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated. And you know, Ole has managed 100 games for Manchester United in all competitions. And he was ashamed that he lost his 100th game because he was hoping to win. But Solskjaer, I think, has won 56 games as Manchester United manager in all competitions since he got appointed in. What do you think Man U's best formation is, though? Obviously, since Ole got appointed in, a lot of the time he's actually gone with that 4-2-3-1 formation, but from my own perception, that 4-2-3-1 formation doesn't really seem to suit our standards, does it? And obviously a few times he's gone with a 3-5-2 formation. I think a few times as well he's gone with a 4-3-3 formation. I think before he's gone with a 5-3-2 formation. You know, a lot of United fans do want, obviously, a diamond, don't they? You know, like, we went with against RB Leipzig. But yeah, we're already making plans for next year on obviously who we're going to bring in, because we're looking to make a couple of more signings, because I still think, we need a centre-half, we need someone to go alongside Harry Maguire. We're also in search for a right winger, and it does mention that we're likely to go in for Daya Upamecano next summer. That's when he's going to be available for £38 million, because that's when his release clause becomes active. Daya Upamecano signed a new deal with Leipzig, obviously to remove his 45 million release clause. He says we could make a move for Adama Traore in January. Kalahaglu from AC Milan. Now we're no longer interested in bringing him in, are we? We'll also look to offload more players next year, won't we? Because he's still deadwood in the squad. I think next year we'll be looking to get rid of Jesse Lingard. We'll be looking to get rid of Phil Jones. We'll be looking to get rid of Rojo. We'll be looking to get rid of Romero, because Romero's obviously said that he wants his contract terminated. Possibility chance that we could obviously loan Daniel James out. We could also loan Brandon Williams out, because Brandon Williams could find game time difficult now. Following the arrival of Alex Telles. Could Matic be sold next year, because he's actually lost his place in the team? Do you think Juan Mata could be sold next year? I'd love Juan Mata to stay at the football club. But we shall see. But yeah, nothing's changed at all at Manchester United. The last 7 years or so, it's just been exactly the same. Obviously, being in transition periods. We've had obviously different managers with different philosophies. 3 managers have been sacked since the Sir Alex Ferguson era, and that was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, and Jose Mourinho. Moyes lasted 9 months at the club. Under the David Moyes era, we finished 7th. Van Gaal, he lasted 2 years, won the FA Cup under him, and Jose Mourinho, he lasted 2.5 years, and he won the Europa League, the League Cup, and the Community Shield in his first season. Now, Ollie's our fourth permanent manager since the Ferguson era, but like I said, he's on the verge of getting the sack. So if he does get sacked, he'll be the fourth permanent manager to be sacked by Manchester United, and we're not even really known as a sacking football club. And we've brought over 30 players in since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. And a lot of them players over the years we've brought in haven't been the right calibre players for Manchester United. Now, under the Moyes era, we brought obviously just 2 players in, and that was Fellaini and Juan Mata. Moyes spent around 60 odd million on them too. Then obviously under the Louis van Gaal era, we must have brought a good 13 players in or something like that. And Van Gaal spent a good 200 odd million at the club. He brought lights of Sneijderlin in, Sebastian Schweinsteiger, Di Maria, Falcao, Memphis Depay, Blind, Rojo, Darmian, Martial, Shaw, Ander Herrera, Romero, Victor Valdez. They're a lot of the players that we did bring in under Louis van Gaal era. Sebastian Schweinsteiger, he's another one. Morgan Schneiderlin. And under the Jose Mourinho era, we brought 11 players into the football club. And Mourinho spent, was it 400 million or just under 400 million pounds at Man United? And the vast majority of this team is, Jose Mourinho. So let's put into the equation Solsjaer is inheriting them. So we spent nearly £1 billion in the last 7 years or so on players. This includes what we've spent under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, doesn't it? But I think we are at least 3 to 4 years off from winning the Premier League. I really, really do. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. The last time won it was in Ferguson's last season. So we haven't won it now for over 7 years. But we are the most successful team in Premier League history because we have won 20 titles and 13 of them are Premier League titles out there. And I just don't think we'll ever be the team that we was under Sir Alex Ferguson. Ferguson endured, 27 years at Manchester United. He won a total of 38 major honours and that. And, the winning mentality was there under Ferguson. The fear factor was there. You know what I mean? But Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, so he did not settle in straight away. But the success came under him, because since he left, we've been inconsistent. Before Ferguson came into the equation, we was poor because we weren't good under Ron Atkinson. We weren't good under Wilf McGuinness. I think he endured 18 months at the club at the time. And we weren't good under Franco Farrell. We got relegated under Franco Farrell back in 1974. But, there's good players at Manchester United, and there's also players that are not good enough at Manchester United. You know what I mean? Anyway, I want to delve into some news on Paul Pogba. Now, Paul Pogba is a flop for Manchester United. Now, Paul Pogba has recently apologised for obviously conceding the penalty in our 1-0 defeat to Arsenal, because obviously Paul Pogba was the one that brought Hector Bellerin down. But yeah, Pogba has actually taken the blame for obviously why we lost that game. Paul Pogba now will get a lot of criticism from a lot of Manchester United fans. I think I heard Dion Dublin saying stuff about Paul Pogba, saying, that he's obviously, lazy and he's useless. And I think a lot of Manchester United fans would like to see Paul Pogba leave the football club next year. A lot of United fans are actually expecting him to leave next summer, Paul Pogba. Because don't forget, quite a few weeks ago, Pogba had made an admission saying that one day his dream is to join Real Madrid. And he was talking a lot about Real Madrid and Zinedine Zidane last year. And don't forget, he said he wanted to leave Manchester United because he's seeking for a new challenge, didn't he? There's obviously been rumours of him going to Barcelona. There's been rumours of him going back to Juventus. Pogba did endure 4 good years with Juventus. There's obviously been rumours of him going to PSG as well. Now, a few weeks ago, we did trigger that 1-year extension on Paul Pogba's contract. So that keeps him under contract at the football club till June 2022. And this was confirmed by Fabrizio Romano. I think now the reason we triggered that 1-year extension so we can cash in for him next summer rather than letting go on a 3 transfer. I can assure that we won't get more than the £89 million that we paid for him. Maybe we could get between 60 to 70 million. But yeah, Paul Pogba is our most expensive sign at the moment. Not only that, he's one of the highest paid players at the football club because he's on around 290 grand a week on his current contract. And this is Paul Pogba's 5th season at Manchester United since he rejoined, isn't it? And obviously he has made over 100 appearances for the club in all competitions since he rejoined. You know, he's won a couple of trophies at the club. That was the Europa League and the League Cup. And, you know, he's sustained quite a few injuries since he rejoined. For the vast majority of last season, don't forget, Paul Pogba had that ankle injury. You know what I mean? Don't forget, Pogba endured a difficult time under the Mourinho era, but so too did all our top players. And we had Paul Pogba when he was a lot younger under the Ferguson era, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think Paul Pogba needs to leave. He really, really does. But Solsjaer was talking about Paul Pogba prior to the Arsenal game, saying that he's backing Paul Pogba to rediscover his form, and he says Paul Pogba can do everything, and he's come to accept that he's more influential further forward, Paul Pogba. You know what I mean? But he actually did well in the RB Leipzig game because he got an assist for Mason Greenwood's first goal. So that's the breaking news on him. Now, obviously, our next game is Istanbul Başakşehir in the Champions League group stage. That's on Wednesday. I think it's a 5 to 6 kickoff, is it? At the Fatih Terim Stadium. Then, obviously, it's Everton in the league, and that's going to be a very, very tough game for Manchester United, isn't it? But yeah, I think the good players that we've got is Marcus Rashford, very, very good. You know, he wasn't too good against Arsenal, was he? Was Marcus Rashford. He wasn't so bad in the first half, but, you know, Rashford did score a hat-trick in our 5-0 win against RB Leipzig, and he became the second Man United player to score a hat-trick as a substitute, Marcus Rashford. And people are saying, you know, Marcus Rashford should be starting on the bench now. Rashford also scored the late winner in Paris, and he became the second Man United player to score late on in Paris. Because he's done it twice now, hasn't he, Marcus Rashford? But Rashford has been part of the club for several years. You know, he's been a United player since the age of 7, and he's been in our senior squad since 2016. I think Mason Greenwood is good. Against Arsenal, he was quiet, to be honest. We obviously, you know, he had that great chance. That was the best chance we had, by the way, from Greenwood. It produced a good save from Leno. I like Mason Greenwood. He can play centrally, he can play on the right. I think he was playing more centrally against RB Leipzig. He actually scored against RB Leipzig, didn't he? You know, I think, was it at the start of the season, we had a few issues with Mason Greenwood, didn't we? Because he was getting dropped from the England squad quite a few times. Don't forget, at the start of the season, it had confirmed that we'd give him the number 11 shirt. He's the 4th Manchester United player to wear that number 11, isn't he? I also think that Bruno Fernandes is very, very good. He wasn't good though against Arsenal. He was really, really quiet in that game against Arsenal, wasn't he? Obviously, we did actually rest him against RP Leipzig, but we brought him on as a substitute. There's been a couple of games where he's looked off the pace, but apart from that, he's been very, very consistent. You know, Bruno Fernandes has endured around 9 months at the football club, and the vast majority of his goals have come from the penalty spot. Bruno Fernandes is. He won Premier League Player of the Month around 3 times last season, and he won some Busby Player of the Year award. Don't forget, Bruno Fernandes was recently talking about Pogba, saying that he insists that he can form an effective partnership with Pogba, and he insists his relationship with Paul Pogba on and off the pitch is very, very good, and he said they both speak Italian to each other and that. So Bruno Fernandes did disagree with Jamie Carragher over the Paul Pogba partnership, because Carragher said, you know, they'd never work. Now, Donny van der Beek, he's not getting a lot of chances, is he, at Manchester United, but I still think he's a very good player. Now, Donny van der Beek didn't start against Arsenal, and I said prior to the game that he should have started against Arsenal. You know, he did come on, but he's not yet made his full Premier League debut for the football club, Donny van der Beek. He did obviously, start in the game against RB Leipzig. That was his first start in the Champions League for Manchester United. And he did quite well, he was obviously playing in that number 10 role. But Solsjaer was talking about Van der Beek prior to the Leipzig game, I think it was, and he said that Van der Beek's going to be an imperative player for Man United, and he's going to play a big part this year. And he responded to the criticism of the use of Donny van der Beek, didn't he? And Solskjaer was also saying why he hasn't been playing him much, because obviously he said he's trying to find the best position for him, because I heard Donny van der Beek can play in like 3 different roles. We paid £40 million for him from Ajax. Donny van der Beek signed a 5-year contract with the club with an option of a further year, and he currently wears that number 34 shirt. Now, Juan Mata, I also like him a lot, but like I've said to you, he's lost that yard of pace now, hasn't he, because he is in his 30s. No, Juan Mata didn't play against Arsenal. I said, I didn't think he was going to start. The rumour was saying he could have started, though. Some Man United fans think, he should have started Juan Mata. In the games Juan Mata's played in this season, though, he's really impressed me. He did well in the Newcastle one. He did well in both of our Carabao Cup games against Luton and Brighton, didn't he? Yeah, he did very, very well. And he got man of the match, I think, for both of them games. Juan Mata's endured around 6 years or so at Manchester United. He's scored 50 goals for us in all competitions, hasn't he, as Juan Mata? And he's made over 200 appearances. We paid just under 40 million for him from Chelsea the other week. He turned down an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia, because, Juan Mata confirmed that he wanted to stay at the club. Now, I also like Anthony Martial a lot. Before he got suspended, I don't think he's enjoyed the best of starts to the season, though. He was very, very good last season under Ole, and he was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial has enjoyed around 5 years or so at the football club, hasn't he? Oh, his suspension's up now, by the way. He's done his 3-match suspension, which is good. Martial, don't forget, did get sent off in our 6-1 defeat to Tottenham before the international break. I think, Fred's good when he wants to be. Fred was poor against Arsenal because he gave the ball away far too many times. But in his 4 games prior to the Arsenal one, he was very, very consistent, was Fred. And I still think he's done well under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. We paid big money for Fred. We paid 52 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk. He's been at the club a few years now, and Fred has got a contract with us until 2023. Matic, now, like I've said to you, he's not world class. He's not a bad player. He's had some good games at Man United, I think he did well against Leipzig. He had some good games towards the end of last season, but like I said, he's lost his place in the team. we paid big money for Matic, you know, we paid around £40 million for him from Chelsea back in 2017. Scott McTominay, I think he's a good player when he wants to be. He obviously wasn't good against Arsenal, was he, Scott McTominay? But he was good against Leipzig, wasn't he? And he was also very good in the PSG game and all of that. And I've been critical of McTominay so many times before, haven't I? But he has been part of the club for several years, Scott McTominay. Now, Luke Shaw, I think he's good when he wants to be. I think he's improved under the Ole Gunnar Solsjaer era. You know, my only element of concern about Luke Shaw is that he is injury prone. Harry Maguire, definitely not world class, but I think he's pretty good. You know, he's rejuvenated himself recently. Maguire, against Arsenal, made so many clearances and had that great chance for us. Should have scored it, really. But he did have early season troubles, did Maguire, because he had a few knocks. He got sent off in England's 1-0 defeat to Denmark, and he also had that incident in Greece the other month. Harry Maguire is our captain. He's the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment because we got him in a deal worth £80 million. And Wan-Bissaka, I think he's very, very good for us. He wasn't good against Arsenal, but in his 4 previous games prior to that one, I thought he was very, very good because he showed some good attacking intent and his defensive contribution was pretty impressive as well. This is Wan-Bissaka's second season at Manchester United. We got him in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace last summer. And as for David De Gea, I think he's good. He's rejuvenated himself recently, made some good saves. Didn't really have a lot to do, though, in the Arsenal game, did he? You know, this is David De Gea's 10th season at the football club, so he has been a long servant, hasn't he? So, there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.